Hey guys, remote location this time. Be using a feather, and I've updated the dots. I looked at my records, and I've got 49 shaves on this feather. So now the dots are accurate. I had to add 2. And so today is the 50th use. I've never put 50 on a feather before. I've been so involved in my nasset for the last, couple of years that my feather, I think, might be the next one. That's the highest. The razor I put it in is this Gillette Fat Boy, the vintage razor, and I have it set at a 6. There's the 5 and there's the 7. And I usually don't set it that high. Usually like a 3 for a nice smooth shave, but this is a blade that's been smoothed out by use. And it's given me a few tuggy shaves over the last few razors that I've put it into. But I'm just going to use and put it into a bunch of razors that I have and see if I can find one that will work with it at this age, and then we'll keep using it. If not, it'll be done. The soap we're going to use today is Felce Aromatica from Saponificio Varesino. And this is the an image I got off the internet, because how I got it as a refill puck, and so I just took some packaging tape to kind of make it transparent and waterproof-ish. So and then I put the soap in a one of these containers like Barrister and Man Reserve uses. I've had it soaking for several minutes. And then this as well. This is the Maggard SHD knot, the bulb knot, that I'll be using today with a craving shaving handle. Very ergonomic and enjoyable to use. So let me show you so that I don't forget to. Here's the feather with the little kind of signature X and a dot that I'll show you every time I use it to verify validity. Water here is fairly soft as I understand it. Get a little on my face. Start softening up my whiskers. We can start loading up. Let me get my brush, some water in it so that I can shake it out. Shaking out most. This brush holds a good bit, as you can see. We'll just work with that. Very nice soft bristles, soft tips here. All right, so it has softened up. Now their website, I think, actually recommends pouring boiling water or almost boiling water on this soap to soften it up. I don't think that's necessary at all. Just going to do a 30-second load. And where's my timer? There it is. All right, we'll do it 25, the 25 mark. And my notes said to try a 20-second load the next time I use it, but it's been so long. I'm just going to go ahead and go with a 30. So we're going to go up to 55 seconds on the clock counter. It's a wonderful company that makes all these soaps, and I just don't use them enough. I wish I used them more. And there we go. It got kind of airy, and that's all right. Some of them do. We'll put this in my lather bowl. New lather bowl today. Another one from the Dollar Tree. A couple weeks ago I used one, a beaded melamine bowl from the Dollar Tree, and it was great. Except for the fact that it was white, and it turned out it was hard for you guys on the video to see the lather. So I kept looking until I found same shape. It's red, but it's not beaded, and it's got a really sophisticated name, bowl. So anyway, we'll start working it. Here are the attributes about this bowl that I like. It's at a good size. The brush generally is going to stay in the bottom half of the bowl here, and that comes down to a nice round but not huge area, and so the brush isn't traveling a long way across a flat surface to then run into the edge of the bowl. And I think that's helping it helps it to generate a nice lather fairly quickly. But then it doesn't stay small. As it grows up, as you can see, it grows out. And it doesn't need an inturned lip because it's 1/2 inch taller than some of my other bowls that I like. And so that extra 1/2 inch protects against lather overflow. So it turns out I may really enjoy this shape of a bowl. Now this is a very dry looking lather right now. Very airy looking, but do not fret necessarily. It is likely, and I don't have my syringe to give you a good estimate of water, so I'm just going to have to go by the looks of the lather. So sometimes when you have a soap that's very airy like that, sometimes you need to have more product. Sometimes you just need to mix it for longer. Sometimes you just need to add more water. Especially now that we know I just started the lather, the likely culprit is it just needs more time and a little bit more water. And sure enough, it's already getting a little bit more opaque. Got to be careful and not add too much water. Really like this Maggard SHD knot. I mounted it as high as it would go in the handle. Now most people want a little more backbone than that would give. That gives a lot of splay, and it keeps that density away from the center of the knot when compared to lower lofted brushes. But that is where I like it. And I like that we can kind of customize our own brushes. I haven't used this in so long. I looked at the scent notes because what I'm getting on it is just kind of greenery, and oh yeah, that's nice and slick. But this you might want to call this the kitchen sink of soaps, because it's got just about every popular ingredient except for leather. It's got sandalwood. See if I can recall some of them. It's got sandalwood, bergamot, lemon, amber. Were there any florals? There definitely are some florals and the fern type notes. But it was just crazy how many. There are 12 different scent notes listed on trythatsoap.com. Yeah, it smells great, and last time I used it, it performed really well. This is the 50th use of this feather, and so I just wanted something. I wanted a brush that was nice, and I wanted a soap that was nice. I keep this one around. I don't actually store this one in a tub because I really like the SV soaps. Saponificio Varesino, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Oh yeah, see, we've got tons of lather. 20 seconds would have been just fine to load by. But I really like these soaps, and their scents are just so well done and well thought out that I actually don't stow these away. I keep them by my bedside or on a table in my office rather, and smell them every once in a while. It's kind of a hard soap, so that's why I do bloom it. I do let it soak a little bit prior to the shave. All right, let's feel. Oh, that is slick. A little bit of viscosity, not much, but it lays down a really nice slick layer. That is excellent. Probably needs a little bit more water. I got a feeling, it feels like it doesn't, but I have a feeling just from my experiences with other soaps and stuff that if I put this on my face, it's probably going to start needing a little bit more water. So let's just add some. $1 lather bowl, awesome. It's wide enough. My knuckles neither my knuckles nor the brush are smacking against the side of the bowl. It's activating the lather not by some ridges or stones in the bottom, but by the fact that the brush is flopping back and forth between the sides, and so that's causing those bristles to bend, and that activates the lather. That agitates it without having any other factors. Now, I may add some of those little glass beads or something, like especially maybe one or two to the bottom of the center of the bowl, just so I can put the brush in the bowl and have it not sink all the way down. Yeah, look at that. It took that water like a champ. No problem there. Tons of lather. Unfortunately, I got these soaps at a time when I didn't know as much about soap bases as I do now, and SV numbers their soap bases like 4.1, 4.3, that sort of thing. And so I don't know which one this is, but let's just enjoy it anyway. I think we're good. So let's look at the consistency here in case you want to try to duplicate it. Now look at all this on the top of it. Rivers and valleys, hills. That is sometimes a little too dry for how I like my soaps, but let's just try that one today and see what happens. Now, I lifted it out, so I'm going to lift half of it out. See what kind of stretch. Oh, look at that. That is nice. Look at that. I'm balancing it. If I start to tilt the bowl, it's actually still got some structure there. It's not just immediately collapsing. See that? So it's possible it still needs some more water, but let's just put it on my face and see. Water on the face. Okay, fat boy, let's see if you can handle the feather at 50 uses. So it's still set on 6. And let's put on the lather. Oh, this brush feels good. Tons. I've got so much lather, I don't know what to do with it. So let's spend a minute or two basically rubbing it into the skin to let it protect and lay down a nice layer of itself so that it lets the razor glide over the skin, only cutting the hairs. That's our hope. I am going to add a little bit of more. Look at this. There's so much extra. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, let's just add some drops to the brush here. That was actually quite a few drops if you were able to see that. Yeah. I don't even need, I can take a lot of this excess here and put it back in the bowl, even though I don't need to. The bowl has plenty of lather. Cold water. We're still in the winter around here, so the water is chilly. Man, I love this soap base. And the scents are just so well put together, so clearly, intelligently designed. This one's not super strong here. You get more of a whiff of it when you stick your face in the bowl, but it definitely should be that way. It's kind of small, maybe 3 to 4 out of 10 in terms of scent strength. All right, fat boy, Can you handle the feather? Oh, now see. That's the best one so far. Just a little bit of tugging, but it is just not a big deal. And I bet it'll be smooth and very enjoyable in the second and third passes. You know what? Let's dial it back a little bit. I'm going to put it on a 4 and just see how it feels. I've still got some unshaven growth right here. Oh yeah, that's fine. Tons of lather. Okay, rinse. All right, well, I had to add water to the brush for sure that first pass, and so I went ahead and put some water in here. Now, who knows how much it was because I didn't measure, but we have definitely made this lather more elastic. This is wet. Look at that. The way that folds over. I don't know if it's going to be too wet or not. Look at that right there. So I'm going to mix it for a little bit, consolidate some of the bubbles. A little bit of the water might evaporate, but just to kind of calm it down just a little bit, because it might be too wet. I can also take and make sure there's no kind of standing water on my face that will add itself to the lather. All right, that looks. I have so much lather here. Love this brush. It's dense, but the tips are soft. So now let's just, yeah, see, it's so wet that it is just falling off. Now, that is exactly where some people like it. I'm putting an excess on my skin just because I can. I've got so much lather to do it with. But you definitely don't need these big globs. It just needs to be thin. We'll keep it at the 4 setting. Just like I was guessing, this is very comfortable. Doing cross grain now, moving across the way my hair grows instead of with it like I did the first pass. Inflating my cheeks when I do certain areas to help get nice and close cut. And this is very slick. I love, and the razor's not skipping. I love the way that this lather can handle it, either a little more intense like it was before, a little thicker, or it's moving along so well and it's just so wet and slick right now. It'll handle the both extremes. And this isn't really the extreme. This right here might be kind of my perfect lather, because it's just, wow, the slickness is just residual and tremendous. This fat boy is doing great. This maybe, and the slim might be my next razors that I use for this blade for a little while until it needs me to change. And let's rinse. So the fat boy adjustables from Gillette are more rare because they were made before the slims, and they were made for a much smaller amount of time, just a few years before they decided to change to the slims. They must have thought that the The Fat Boys were not quite what the public wanted at the time. It's my favorite though. I love the weight of it, the balance, the thickness of the handle, the knurling, the appearance of it as well. Just awesome. And at the lower settings, it's a smooth shaver. You know what? I'm going to bump this guy up. Usually I keep the same setting. It's a 4. Let's go all the way up, back up to a 6 now. I just like, yeah, the 6 is doing fine right now. I just like it all the way around. Some people can tell the difference between the shave of the slim. Man, this soap is so slick. Oh, it's wet, but still slick. It's not too wet. It got really wet, but still held together. Man, that's how good it is. It's making me interrupt myself. But I shaved with the Fat Boy and the Slim, and the difference just wasn't perceptible enough for me to really care too much. And so then I pick my favorite based on the one that I like the appearance of, the feel of the best. Man, what a nice shave. And I think that's the third pass. I've got so much lather. Oh man. And this is like 4 or 5 more passes in here. And it is perfect. Man, this is a performance soap. I think this may even be a vegan soap. This may be about the best vegan soap I've used. It stays creamy and together and cohesive even with all that water added to it. That's just the way it should be. I am going to do a touch-up pass right here. Paying attention to my approach very carefully. Using very light pressure, about as light as I can get away with, while still remaining good control over the razor and still keeping the blade on the skin. Oh, that's nice. Some people say that a feather gets dull after 2 or 3 uses. Well, there's 50. And even if my hair is 10% less dense than everybody else's, that's still way more uses. But I think my hair density is average. So, man, that's a great... The scent is not strong. It's not going to bowl you over, but I really like it. I'm definitely going to keep that soap around. If only just the performance. I believe with this soap, the puck was too small for this container. You can just leave the soap in there and use it, and eventually some of the dried soap will make it down around and will stop it from moving around. But what I decided to do, if I recall, is to do a little bit some scrapings off the top and then shove those scrapings down around, and so it did a very nice job of, I think you can kind of see some of the scrapings down there where the water hasn't made it yet, to hold it in place as I use it. Man, that is enjoyable. Nice. Got so much lather. And the 6 felt, yep, I used a 6 for that last pass. The lather protected me. Most of the hair was already gone, and the light pressure, I have no irritation. And also I was using a technique like a slant. My hair grows in this direction right here. And so instead of a cross grain would have been this or this. That's kind of a 90-degree cross grain. But I brought in some angles, and I instead of a cross grain like this, I kept it at this tilt, but then I went up more toward the corner of my mouth instead of the side of my jaw. And so that made the blade move across my skin in a slanted way to hopefully help to get some of those tough hairs. And then I did the same thing from the other direction, if you were paying attention, to try to get it from one side and then get it from the other in the same way. The slant and the fact that it wasn't against the grain fully helped to minimize the feel, the irritation and razor burn that can sometimes happen with me, for sure. All right, unscented Soap Commander Balm. They have two different kinds of unscented. They call it Integrity, and here's the difference. This one's menthol-free. They do have another one that has a little bit of menthol. Some people claim they don't add a lot of menthol, and it's probably true, but it's still too much for me. I tried, and it's just distracting, and it's more of a burning sensation for me. And so I get the menthol-free kind. It is kind of a bummer because I like several of Soap Commander's scents. I believe that Soap Commander's balm is a little more nourishing than Sterling's. But Sterling has the edge in the scents, and Sterling's do not contain menthol. Zingari Man is another a recent kind of entry into the market, and I've heard really good things about their balm from a lot of people. Heather runs that, and she seems to be very nice. She participates currently, at least, on a lot of the same online places that I find myself. There we go. Yeah, you can tell I used a little too much, but that will absorb in just 10-15 minutes and be just fine. And we're good. I'm going to pack my stuff up. Another great reason, aside from slickness, is to having wet lathers is easy cleanup of gear. On the blade, the razor, the brushes, there's just no buildup of soap. And so it's a quick rinse and a dry with a towel. There's just no buildup. Terrific. Cleaned out the bowl, the massive amounts of lather left in. If you've got a Dollar Tree nearby you in America or wherever else Dollar Tree finds itself, here's the SKU and UPC just in case you want to make sure that what you're getting is the right one. It looks like maybe 3 3/4 is the interior depth in terms of inches, and then maybe 7, 6, between 6 and 7 inches wide across the, oh hey, you know what we can do? You know what has 6 inches? A dollar bill. I think I've got a dollar bill in here. Here we go. Okay, so 6 inches. Yeah, it's like 6 and 1/8 or something like that in terms of width across the top. And there you go. And so if it went straight down and then curved in, it wouldn't be as good. But it's kind of got a V shape from here down to here, and then it starts a real curve like a U shape, and that's just perfect because when the brush hits the edge, and it moves over here and hits the edge. It's short travel distance before it hits the edge and has to flex and move. When those bristles flex, that's the agitation motion that we want to bring that lather away from soap and water and into the lather form. So there we go, $1 shave bowl. That might be the best one that I've gotten for $1. Excellent. I'm putting away gear. So the Fat Boy did great. The blade, just a little bit of tugging, uncomfortableness, a small way in the first pass, and I don't feel any irritation at all. Any remnant of that tugging was gone right after the first pass was done. So I'm definitely going to keep on rolling with this feather, and that's good. I'd like to take it up to 100. We'll see if it'll do that. Other people have, so maybe I can. Razor, blade were good. The brush, I do hope it keeps relaxing and opening up, taking some of that density from the middle and opening it up a little bit more so that I get a little bit easier of a splay. But I'm thoroughly enjoying that Maggard's SHD knot. And the soap, I extolled the soap's virtues during the shave, so I don't think I need to do that here. It's a hard soap. I think it's going to last a really long time, and so in that sense, it may be a little pricey in the beginning, but as you see how many uses it gives you, I think it'll really look more like a value and a budget soap as you look at actual cost per shave. So I hope that's the case. I'm really happy with that. And the balm, that white, it's all gone. It's been absorbed. My skin feels hydrated, not greasy, really well hydrated. It doesn't, I don't feel like I'm picking up residue on my fingers, you know. There is a little bit of drag because of that moisture. And so you could give yourself a little irritation if you were to really go at your face with kind of friction. Really happy with the closeness on this shave. So there we go. Man, good stuff. I'm so glad I revisited that soap, picked it up today. Well, there we go. I sure hope there was something here for you that helps you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Have a good night.